With this, let me start the session. The session tells about the role of Prakriti in personalized nutrition. The next slide, please. So, can anyone comment on this slide? This what do you see and what does it mean? Can anyone share your thought regarding this picture? Actually, what it is already written in the slide, and what is the relevance of this natural selection? That is what I asked you. Can anybody comment on this?
So previously, giraffes have the short neck, and gradually, because of the necessity to have the food, their evolution has taken place with a long neck.
Yes, it is true. That it is perfect. It tells about the natural selection. Actually, what is natural selection? It tells, it is a theory that those individuals with heritable traits better suited to the environment will survive. That is the idea of natural selection. And what is its relevance in this topic? Actually, the dietary factors are well recognized contributors to common diseases, including heart diseases, stroke, type 2 diabetes, cancers, and the list goes on like that. Despite the known link between the dietary pattern and disease, the intervention to alter the dietary habit to improve the public health and to improve the individual health and well-being have not been tried much. So those who attempt to attain or those who attempt to adapt to the right nutrition would survive better. That is the meaning given for this picture by me. The next slide, please. See, all of us know, or all of us are familiar with the term customization. What is the meaning of customization? The slide, I hope you can read the meaning. It is to modify something to suit a particular individual or to a particular task. So customization means to modify something in order to make it suitable for a person or a particular task. You can Google it and find the meaning. And we all are very much eager to customize our belongings, our gadgets and all. Why we are so much eager to do this customization? It is because we would like to have our perfect experience. So customization is for having a perfect experience. Next slide, please. When the individual's experiences are concerned, each one becomes the center of this universe. Because if that individual does not exist, there is no validity for his or her experience. So individual is the master when experiences are concerned. So customization is the center of modification of your gadgets and all. And there is another term called personalization. The next slide, please. What is the meaning of personalization? Can you differentiate between personalization and customization? Actually, customization is when the customer manually makes changes to the items to meet his or her needs. So the customer or the person who's using the gadgets are making modification in order to make it suitable for his needs. And personalization, in personalization, it is an action for creating or modifying an item that is ideal for the customer on the basis of individual's information who is using that item. So there is a slight difference between customization and personalization. In personalization, somebody else is modifying the items for a particular person by considering the individual's characteristics And in customization, the individual himself is modifying the things. So in the health scenario, I think personalization has more importance because the individual himself is not recommending the right things for himself, and he is approaching another person, another expert, to have the right choice for him. So personalization is the star in the area of medicine. So personalization of interventions may be more effective in changing behavior that will affect the health outcomes. Personalized nutrition. Now we can move to the personalized nutrition. Personalized nutrition is an approach that uses the information regarding an individual's characteristics to develop targeted nutritional advice or products or services. In other words, we can say that it is an approach that assists the individual in achieving a lasting dietary behavior. That is the benefit of personalization, because the changes would last longer than the changes that is opted when we use the common practices. So the personalized nutrition is an approach in which that assists individual in achieving a lasting dietary behavioral change that is beneficial for his or her health. The next slide, please. So actually the personalized nutrition is an umbrella term under which we can find some other terms like stratified nutrition, personalized nutrition, precision nutrition, etc. Let us see what are they mean. What are these? What is the meaning of these words? The stratified nutrition are the approaches that attempt to recommend dietary practices for a group of individuals that share common characteristics. So it will deliver nutritional interventions to a group of individuals who share common characteristics. And the personalized nutrition, the term personalized nutrition as such means an individually tailored nutrition. That means almost a similar meaning it also carry, but it goes a step further by attempting to deliver nutritional intervention best suitable for each individual. So in stratified nutrition, we are taking care of a group that share common characteristics, and when we consider about the person as himself, it is better to advise, or it is better to recommend personalized nutrition. And if we go further, we have another term known as precision nutrition. The precision nutrition is the most ambitious of these three terms. It suggests that it is possible to have sufficient quantitative understanding about the complex relation between an individual and his or her food consumption based on his phenotype. So that would make the food individually too much beneficial to maintain his health. So it is a step further to the personalized nutrition. It is based on the phenotypic characteristics. The next slide, please. So when we consider the overall goal of the personalized nutrition, it is to preserve or increase the health of individuals using genetic, phenotypic, medical, nutritional, and other relevant information about the individual to deliver more specifically healthy eating habits and other nutritional services. So the overall goal of the personalized nutrition is to provide advice to preserve and increase the health status of an individual or a group. So we can say the personalized nutrition is equally applicable for healthy people as well as for diseased people. The next slide, please. So I told you the target group of personalized nutrition is diseased people as well as healthy people. And how it is accomplished? It is accomplished by giving special nutritional support. It also improves the public health. So personalized nutrition would give specific nutritional support, and it also helps to improve the public health. The next slide, please. Let's see how this specific nutritional support system works. Actually, it is the dietary management for the people with specific diseases. The first option for special nutritional support is to provide dietary supplementation or dietary recommendation to the people with specific diseases. So if we recommend a suitable diet plan for a cardiac patient, it becomes a part of special nutritional support to that person. The next slide, please. And the second option of specialized nutritional support is to provide dietary management to those who need special nutritional support. These people are not diseased, but they demand specific nutritional support, as giving nutritional support to adolescent girls, nutritional support to pregnant ladies, etc., comes under this category. The next slide, please. And the specialized, this personalized nutritional plan can be used to achieve goals too. The individuals who are not much bothered about the health, but they are bothered about their preferences, dislikes, and to have a desired body shape, to have body building, and some of them would try to compete in sports items. In such cases, the personalized nutrition is used to achieve specific goals. These are the recommendation under specific nutritional support. And the next slide, please. The personalized nutrition can be used to improve the public health too. How it is accomplished? By individualizing the nutritional advice, products or services, we can improve the public health. You know, if we need a set of parallel lines, we have to take care of each and every line we draw. If even a single line is distorted, it won't create a set of parallel lines. So when we try to correct the nutritional plan of majority of individuals in the society, we would have a better public health. So we can the personalized nutrition can contribute to improve the public health too. Next slide, please. The personalized nutrition is based on the idea that individualizing the nutritional advice, products, services, that is more effective to have better health. And how we can personalize the nutrition? The personalization of the nutrition in modern nutritional science is based on the biological evidences of differential responses to the food nutrients that depending on the genotypic peculiarities or phenotypic peculiarities of the individual. So biological evidence to the differential response to food items is the key factor that would determine the personalization of nutrition in the modern nutritional science. And another approach is by the analysis of current behavior, preferences, barriers, and objectives, and subsequently subsequent delivery of interventions that motivates the person to opt a particular type of nutrition. So the current trend, some of the people would go behind the current trend, and they would like to use most what is used by the most of the people. And the next slide, please. And how we can analyze the current trend. In the modern nutritional science, the current trend towards personalization is achieved by nutritional research. There are a lot of researches conducted in the field of nutrition, and nutritional researches are being conducted now. So it provides a better understanding of how diet affects the health. That is the first concern. And the second concern is using new technology that enables better continuous measurement of health with the help of certain health markers. So by using the markers, continuous measurement of markers of individuals' health and fitness also give clue regarding the current trend regarding nutrition. And another aspect or another factor that would help to identify the current trend is using analytical tools that interpret the data that is already available to find out the user-friendly practical information regarding the dietary plans recommended to the new generation and used by the current generation. The next slide, please. These are the idea regarding the personalized nutrition from a modern point of view. Now let's consider the personal nutrition from the viewpoint of Ayurveda. Actually, it is our responsibility to frame guidelines for personalized nutrition on the basis of our own concepts. So can you point out some of the concepts that can contribute to design personalized nutrition for each individual? Somebody please unmute and share your idea regarding personalized nutrition in the basis of Ayurvedic concepts. According with Prakriti, that's fine. It's a valid point. Anything else? Can you suggest anything else? Please come forward. It is your time. Pushta Agni. Vyayam Shakti. Good. Very good. According to Dosha Avastha. That's fine. Okay. Thank you for your comments. The next slide, please. I had just mentioned some terms like stratified nutrition, personalized nutrition, and precision nutrition. Let us see the definition of each of these and try to find, is there anything from our Shastra that can replace these terms? The next slide, please. So the stratified nutrition, I had mentioned this definition earlier. Stratified nutritions are the approaches that attempt to a group of individuals with shared characteristics and hello, somebody is trying to convey anything. Okay, I think somebody's mic was unmuted. So stratified nutrition is the approach that attempts a group of individuals with shared characteristics and deliver nutritional intervention or advice that is suited to each group. The next slide, please. So the next term was personalized nutrition, and it tells about the individually tailored nutrition attempts to deliver nutritional intervention or advice suitable for each individual. Next slide, please. And the next one is precision nutrition. It is very important with the understanding about the complex relationship between the individual and his or her food consumption and his or her phenotype to offer nutritional interventional advice which is individually beneficial. See, actually at the level of personalized nutrition, we were trying to make it suitable for an individual, but if it is beneficial for the individual, that is taken care of in the precision nutrition only. So the precision nutrition demands much greater precision in designing the nutrition for the individual. The next slide, please. So what can be the stratified nutritional plan in the Ayurveda? You know that. Actually, you have mentioned it. Stratified nutritional plan in Ayurveda. It is suitable for a group who share common characteristics. You know that. Next, please. Yes, it is the nutrition suitable for particular Deha Prakriti. Actually, what is Deha Prakriti? Deha Prakriti represents a group of individuals who share particular characteristics based on the quality of dosha. So, what can be recommended for a Deha Prakriti actually represent the stratified nutrition in Ayurvedic terms. The next slide, please. You know what is Prakriti? Prakriti is a state of equilibrium of dosha which remain unchanged from birth to death. And while referring a term equilibrium, it does not mean that all the three doshas are in the same proportion, but only it means that whatever may be the proportion of each dosha, in a state of Prakriti, the dosha exists in a state of equilibrium, which is not affected by the internal factors. It is something like balancing a vector by two other vectors. To balance a vector, two vectors of different direction and magnitude can be used. That is a basic idea. The next slide, please. Even a particular dosha predominates in the manifestation of the Prakriti. This predominance does not cause any harm to the body. Actually, we know the doshas, vriddhi of dosha can cause diseases, but in the Prakriti stage, even there is a predominance of a particular dosha. That particular predominance, since it is in a normal range, does not produce any harm to the body. But external factors do change the dosha. But when such interferences ends, the body goes back to the pre-existed state of normalcy of dosha, that is Prakriti. And the Prakriti, in this concept of Prakriti, it looks at different functional system of an individual in a particular way. It tells about the Agni of an individual, that is the digestive capacity, the Koshta of the individual, that is the bowel nature, and taste that would keep the individual healthy. So I would like to say Prakriti is an ideal condition in which a person remains healthy even after having a dosha permanently elevated in most of his or her body functional systems. That is why I deliberately said it is not the taste that is preferred by the person, but it is the taste that can keep the person healthy is mentioned under Prakriti Lakshanas. The next slide, please. So the Prakriti take care of these factors, that is Agni and food intake, and it take account of the Koshta of the individual, and it also take an account of the rasa recommendation given or rasa recommendation suitable for each Prakriti. The next slide, please. Is there any recommendation like that in Prakriti description, or is there any clue that can be used for personalize the nutrition of an individual in Prakriti description? Yes, you can see the Vata Prakriti, in the description of Vata Prakriti that is given in Ashtanga Hridaya, there is Bahubhuja is given. Why Vata Prakriti is Bahubhuja? They are very active in nature. Since there is Chalaguna of Vata present in them very much, they are very active. So in order to maintain their active state, they need food. That is why they take much food, or the quantity of food taken by Vata Prakriti is great. It is just because of their more active nature. The next slide, please. And also the rasa recommendation for the Prakriti, Vata Prakriti is also there, like Madhura, Amla, Padu, Ushna, Satya, Kamaksha. Madhura, Amla, Rasa, and Padu, that is Lavana, is recommended for Vata Prakriti. And since the Ushna Guna helps to maintain the Vata in its normal stage, or it controls the Vata in its normal stage. So Ushna Guna is also recommended for Vata Prakriti. So Vata Prakriti person is recommended to use Ushna Ahara Dravya always. The next slide, please. And similarly, in Pitta Prakriti, it is given as Pitta Prakriti has Tikshna Trishna Bubhuksha. Tikshna Trishna Bubhuksha means they cannot tolerate their hunger or thirst. It is very difficult for them to stand without having food if they are hungry. The next slide, please. And similarly, the rasa recommendation for Pitta Prakriti is also there. The next slide. It says that Kukte Annam Madhura Tikta Kashaya Sheetam. And it is recommended to use sweet, tikta, that is bitter, and astringent rasa for the maintenance of healthy stages of Pitta Prakriti. The next slide, please. In case of Kapha Prakriti, it is described as Tikta Kashaya Kadugoshna Rutram Alpam Cha Bhunte Balava Tathapi. What does it mean? Tikta Kashaya Kadugoshna Rutram. They are advised to take Tikta Rasa, Kashaya Rasa, and Kadu Rasa and Ushna Ahara Drevya. They may use Rucha Drevya. Still, they are very healthy. They are very strong in their nature. This is the clue regarding the Kapha Prakriti in our classics, in the Ashtanga Hridaya. The next slide, please. So we can see that there is adequate clues in the Prakriti description from our Samhitas. So if we consider all these description, we can see that the caloric need of each Prakriti is taken into account while describing the descriptions of the Prakriti. Like in Pitta Prakriti, since they have much more body heat, so their basal metabolic rate would be higher. The Vata Prakriti is more active, and hence their active metabolic rate would be higher, and hence these two Prakritis demand more quantity of food. And similarly, the taste that would help to remain them healthy is suggested in the Prakriti description. Similarly, the digestive capacity can be found out from the Prakriti description, because since the Vata Prakriti since Vata is predominant dosha in Vata Prakriti, we can expect Vishama Agni in Vata Prakriti in normal case, similarly Tishna Agni in Pitta Prakriti, and mostly Samagni or Mandagni in hello. If somebody is trying to say something, okay, and the digestive capacity is discussed in the description of Prakriti. Similarly, the bowel nature is also can be found out from the Prakriti description. The body strength is given. Vata Prakriti is described as Alpa Bala, Pitta Prakriti is described as Madhya Bala, and Kapha Prakriti is with much body strength. They are Balavan. They are described as Balavan. So all these can be considered while we find a dietary recommendation for Prakriti, for a particular Prakriti individual. The next slide, please. With considering all these things, I have framed a dietary recommendation for a Prakriti. It is just some examples are given. It is not a complete one and a perfect one, but still I would like to share this idea with you. While we consider the dietary recommendation to Vata Prakriti, we must try to avoid the food items that is difficult to digest, since their Agni is Vishama. The Agni is mostly Vishama in nature. The possibility of constipation, Krura Kokshtada, is also should be taken into account. That is why whole grains are preferred to refined grains. So, and also Manda form of Kritana. Manda is causing Vatanilomia. So that can be prescribed for a Vata Prakriti person. And like that, this Shimbidhanyas, when we consider the Shimbidhanyas or pulses, basically they cause Vibandha. They are Vibandhakrit. So it is better to use them in small quantity. The safest Shimbidhanya is Mudga, that is green gram. So the Vata Prakriti can use Mudga to a small quantity, and the Bengal gram or Kalaya should be avoided by the Vata Prakriti, because Kalaya is Ativatala, is described as Vadivatala. Similarly, when we consider the vegetables, some of the vegetables which are Madhura Rasa, in Madhura Rasa can be used safely by the Vata Prakriti person. So currently we have carrot and beetroot. They are mostly Madhura in Rasa, so it is safe to administer. Ashkosh or our Kushmanda is safe to be taken by any Prakriti. The brinjal can be taken by Vata Prakriti, and shallot, that is Palandu, the small onion, is also recommended to be used by Vata Prakriti. The things, the vegetables that can be avoided by Vata Prakriti include potato, cabbage, etc., since they cause gas trouble. So, because since the Agni of Vata Prakriti is Vishama, it is very easy to have gas trouble in Vata Prakriti individuals. So the food items that can cause gas trouble may be avoided by the Vata Prakriti person. When we consider fruit items, the Madhura Dravya, most of the Madhura fruits, the sweet fruits can be used by the Vata Prakriti person. Watermelon, grapes, since it is Amla, the citrus fruit also can be used by the Vata Prakriti person. Pomegranate is a safe choice for Prakriti, Vata Prakriti person. But unripe mango is contraindicated for the use of Vata Prakriti person, since it can produce Vata Kopa. And similarly, while we consider the spices that can be recommended to Vata Prakriti, we have asafoetida, hingu, because it is very good for digestion. We can recommend asafoetida. Likewise, coriander is a safe choice. Curry leaves are good for digestion, and we can recommend these spices for Vata Prakriti person. And when considering the meat, Ajamamsa can be recommended to any Prakriti person. So it is very much good or optimum for our dhatu. So Ajamamsa can be used by Vata Prakriti person without any difficulty. Anyhow, when they use meat items, since there we have to consider the Vishamadhi of the Vata Prakriti person. So it is better to use in small quantity only. While we consider Dravadravya, goat milk is ideal for Vata Prakriti person, since it can elevate Vata. And lassi, dadhi is recommended, dadhi is Vadakna in nature. So the Vata Prakriti persons can use lassi. Lassi in that, along with dadhi, sugar will be added. So it is good for Vata Prakriti person. But the sugarcane extract, that is Ichurasa, is contraindicated for the use of Vata. For the use of Vata Prakriti, because it may cause problem with digestion if it is consumed immediately after a meal. Otherwise it is okay for Vata Prakriti, but it should not be used after a heavy meal. The next slide, please. Similarly, we can consider the recommendation for Pitta Prakriti person also. So in case of Pitta Prakriti also, we can recommend whole grains. Whole grains are very good for Pitta Prakriti person, because hello. While we consider the Pitta Prakriti person, since their Agni is Tikshna in nature, we have to assume that their basal metabolism is in a higher level, or basal metabolic rate is higher. So there are a lot of metabolism taking place in the body of a Pitta Prakriti person. So in order to have a healthy status, with this large number of metabolic transformation, they should have adequate supply of vitamins. Vitamins are necessary for the healthy metabolic conversions. So the whole grains are rich sources of health, this vitamins. So we can prescribe, or we can recommend whole grains instead of refined grains to be used by a Pitta Prakriti. And while we consider Kritana or dietary preparations with our cereals, Vilebi is a choice. Vilebi is a Kritana in which it is a semi-solid state of Kritana, in which there is a small quantity of liquid portion is there with the solid portion. So the solid portion would satisfy the Agni of the individual, and liquid portion, that is the Jalamsha, would be helpful to meet the Trishna of the Pitta Prakriti person. So Vilepi is a good choice for Pitta Prakriti person. Similarly, Laja also is good for Laja, that is Malade. What is that? I don't know the exact translation of Laja, and it is good for Pitta Prakriti, since it can reduce it decrease the Pitta in a person. So while we consider Vilebi, the one more point is there. Vilebi is usually grahi in nature, but usually in Pitta Prakriti, the Koshta would be Mridu. So the grahitva of Vilebi does not cause much harm to the body in that sense. And while we consider the pulses, as I have already mentioned, green gram is the best choice while we consider the pulses. And for Pitta Prakriti, it is better to avoid kulatha, that is horse gram, and masha, that is black gram, because both these can cause an increase in Pitta. While we consider the vegetables, as God, that is Kushmanda is a safe choice. Potato can be used because their agni is very good, and that is rich in starch, so that their metabolic needs would be satisfied. And it is better to use bitter gourd because it is in Tikta Rasa, so it would help to maintain the pitta within its normal range. Snake gourd or patola is also pittagna in nature. Shallot, that is a small onion, or palandu, that is recommended to improve the status of pitta. All these can be used by a Pitta Prakriti person, but it is better to avoid or reduce the use of capsicum and brinjal. Brinjal is not recommended for Pitta Prakriti since it can increase the pitta content in the body. While we consider the fruits, grapes is a good choice. Draksha is a safe choice for all Prakritis, I think. And watermelon, since it is simply Madhura in nature, and it has a lot of water content, so it is good for Pitta Prakriti. Pomegranate is a good choice. Banana, that is mocha phala, is also good. When they use mango, it is better to use ripened mango. The half ripened mango is not good for Pitta Prakriti because it can cause Pitta elevation. And similarly, citrus fruits are also not recommended. Unripe mango is not at all mentioned for the use of Pitta Prakriti. Anyhow, all these can, but there are a lot of choices for Pitta Prakriti from fruits. And when we consider spices, since the spices are mostly tikshna in nature, these spices are not recommended for Pitta Prakriti. The safe choice for Pitta Prakriti is fresh ginger. It can be recommended for Pitta Prakriti because it does not cause elevation of Pitta. But the garlic, when we consider garlic, it is very Tikshna in nature, so it is better to avoid garlic to be used by Pitta Prakriti directly. If we are using along with some food preparation, it may not cause much harm. But when they try to consume us in a large quantity or directly, it is not recommended for the use of Pitta Prakriti person. And when we consider the meat, Ajamamsa is okay for Pitta Prakriti, but chicken is better to be avoided by Pitta Prakriti person because it can vitiate the Pitta and Rekta. So Rekta being the Ashraya of Pitta, Rekta vitiation can cause Pitta vitiation also. So chicken, the use of chicken is not recommended for Pitta Prakriti. If Pitta Prakriti wishes to take chicken, make it in a small quantity only. And regarding the Dravadravya that can be used for Pitta Prakriti, all types of fruit juice, basically depending upon the nature of fruits, Pitta Prakriti can use all types of fruit juice, that is Panaka. Panakas are recommended to reduce the increasing Pitta in the body, and sugar cane extract is a good choice for them. But Dadhi is not recommended for Pitta Prakriti persons since it can increase the Pitta fraction within the body. So when a Pitta Prakriti is taking Pitta elevating drugs, it may lead that person to an increased state of Pitta that may take it from the normal range to elevated range. It is not beneficial for the healthy status of the person. So it is better to avoid such things that would increase the particular dosha. The next slide, please. So let's consider the next Prakriti, that is Kapha Prakriti. Since the cereals are the major energy sources in the diet, a Kapha Prakriti needs cereals, but in small quantity only. So whole grains of small quantity can be recommended for the use of Kapha Prakriti. Anyhow, white rice is not at all recommended. And when we consider the Kritana or dietary preparations, Laja is a good choice since it can reduce the elevated kapha. As far as Chimbidhania is concerned, green gram, that is Mudga, is a good choice, but black gram, that is Masha, should be avoided. We know that Masha is used to have Kapot Klesha before performing the Vamana Karma. So Masha cannot be recommended in a Kapha Prakriti person. When we consider the vegetables, ash gourd, that is Kushmanda, is good choice. Bitter gourd, that is Karavela, is a good choice. They can use capsicum safely, and elephant foot yam, that is Amorphophallus Chena, is good for Kapha Prakriti person, but the onion, use of shallot, that is Palandu, is not recommended for the use of Kapha Prakriti person because it can elevate the state of Kapha in a Kapha Prakriti person. When we consider the fruits, since they are rich in fructose, actually the Kapha Prakriti person does not need that much fructose since their metabolic needs are less compared to other two Prakritis. Anyhow, they would like to have some fruits, then they can opt for grapes, apples, but it is better to avoid plantain and banana. Plantain is a fruit that can increase the kapha much, so plantain is not recommended for Kapha Prakriti person. When we consider the spices, asafoetida, pepper, since it is Deepana Pachana in nature, it is very good for Kapha Prakriti because usually due to the predominance of Kapha, the Agni in Kapha Prakriti individual might be Manda only. So in order to improve the status of Agni, it is better to use pepper by Kapha Prakriti person. When we consider the meat, along with Ajamamsa, they can use Shashamamsa, that is rabbit. Meat of rabbit is okay for them, but fish is not recommended for Kapha Prakriti person because it can cause Kapot Klesha. The fishes also is a dietary thing that should cause Kapot Klesha, so that can be reduced from their diet. And when we consider the Dravadravya, Samphara, that is made up of Takra, is a good choice for Kapha Prakriti person since it is Deepana Pachana. Coconut water, that is Narikela Udagam, is also a good choice for as Dravadravya for Kapha Prakriti person because it is not so Madhura in nature, even though it is slightly Madhura. But Dadhi is contraindicated for the use of, or it cannot be recommended for the use of Kapha Prakriti person since it can increase the state of Kapha. And similarly, sugarcane extract, Ichudasa, is not recommendable for Kapha Prakriti person. The next slide, please. So this is about our Prakriti consideration. What I have prepared is only a small list, only some examples for the recommended food items that can be used in each Prakriti. Only some generic suggestions for that particular group of individuals, but a detailed recommendation can be provided by including food items of this era too, new gen food choices, etc. The matter is the rasa, guna, virya, vibhaka of these current era food items also should be studied well before doing such an exercise. Then we can have a detailed list of stratified nutritional recommendation for our public. But this was all about Ekadoshaja Prakriti. How will you deal with the Dvidoshaja Prakriti? Is there any recommendation? And how can we recommend food or dietary plan for a Dvidoshaja Prakriti? Can you have any suggestion on this? Anybody please unmute and share your thoughts on the dietary recommendation of Dvidoshaja Prakriti. or you can come to the chat box even. Okay, then let me continue. So I believe that the description of each Prakriti tells about an ideal state of body. In which each system of this individual has a functional predominance of a particular dosha. So in Dvidoshaja Prakriti, some of the system function with the predominance of particular dosha, while rest of the system function with the predominance of another dosha. Some of our delegates are commenting on this. According to the Prakriti of individual and present state, body status and professional status of person, on the basis of rasa, both Prakriti recommendation in moderation can be used after having certain foods, what an individual experience in combination of Prakritis. Okay, thank you for your comments. So let me continue. In this Dvidoshaja Prakriti, I told you that some of the systems, functional systems of the Dvidoshaja Prakriti person would be having a predominance of a particular dosha, and while the other systems would be under the control of the other dosha. And similarly, in Tridoshaja Prakriti or Samadosha Prakriti, some of the systems function with the predominance of Vata, some other systems functions under the control of Pitta, while the remaining systems would be under the predominance, under the control of the Kapha. But while choosing food, primary consideration must be given to the Agni and Koshta, and the GIT factors, since these are in direct connection with the Aharadriya. Because in a Vata Prakriti person, Vata Pitta Prakriti person, if we are giving heavy food to him, if the GIT is under the control of Vata and other systems are under the control of Pitta, what happens? The person find it difficult to digest the heavy food. So we have to give small quantity of food in multiple times. So we can increase the frequency of food intake and reduce the quantity of each intake. That is the recommendation that can be given to the Vata Pitta Prakriti person while we consider their GI particularity if it is predominant in Vata. So that is all about our plan in stratified nutrition. So can we now let's consider some practical difficulty while framing a nutritional plan, which is related to allergic nature. Please take the next slide. We see that some of the people are allergic towards certain foodstuffs. The Tikshna Guna of Pitta is responsible for the exaggerated response. Usually we say that Pitta Prakriti persons are mostly allergic in nature. It is because of the increased Tikshna Guna, or it's because of the contribution from the part of Tikshna Guna. So we can expect allergic manifestation in Pitta Prakriti person. But we may find some of the people are not highly, some of the people who are not highly Pythic also show allergic nature. What can be the reason for this? This may happen when the Tishnata of Pitta is restricted to some systems only. And otherwise, if the Dhatvatni of that particular system is not working properly, then also allergy can happen. So allergy is a real problem why we consider a stratified nutritional plan. So we have to take care of individuals' nature of tissues, of individuals' nature of tissue to a great extent. So we can make use of other concepts like Sara and Srotas. Please take the next slide. So we have the concept of Sara. What is Sara? It is the excellent state of Dhatu, is known as Sara. It is the purest form of Dhatu. So it indicates the healthy state of a particular Dhatu, and while we consider a particular sara or sarada of a particular dhatu, we are also considering proper functioning of its corresponding dhatu agni, corresponding dhatu srotas, and we are assuming that the vyana vayu and other vayus that are related to the dhatu ahara pachana also are functioning properly. We can also assume that the jadharagni and samana vayu, prana vayu, etc. also are working properly, because the Jadharagni Vaka is controlled by the Samana Vayu, and Ahara, ingestion of Ahara is controlled by Prana Vayu. So why we assess the sarada of individual, we are assessing, or we are indirectly assessing all these factors: the dhatu agnis, the dhatu ahasrotas, the dhatu ahara, jadharagni, vyana vayu, prana vayu, samana vayu. All these are taken into account while we consider the sarada of an individual. And also the Sara Lakshana in classics tell us how far an individual can reach as far as a dhatu is concerned, the excellency of dhatu is concerned. We cannot go beyond this level regarding the purity or excellence of the dhatu. And while we do Sara assessment, that was about Sara Lakshana, that is given in our classical textbooks. And while we really perform the Sara Pariksha, what we find is the real status of dhatu, current status of sarada of the individual is elicited from Sara Pariksha. And it gives a clue regarding the measures to be taken to improve the sarada of the individual, to bring him to the maximum possible state of the dhatu. Similarly, the next slide, please. We have to take an account of the abhyantara srotas also. We have to take an account of the abhyantara srotas, because see, we have already seen that sarada is sarada can be considered while designing a nutritional plan for individuals. And what is the role of srotas? Srotas take account of another systems too. While we consider the sarada, we are considering the existing tissues of the individual, functioning tissues of the individual. But while we consider the abhyantara srotas, the major input systems like annavaha srotas, pranavaha srotas also are being considered, and a system that represents the milieu interior, that is in internal environment, that is the udagavaha srotas. Actually, internal environment is a combination of udagavaha srotas, rasadhatu, and also a fraction. Kapha also is contributing into the milieu interior. Anyhow, there is a contribution from the part of Udagavaha srotas. So while we consider the srotas, we are taking account of the internal environment in the body, that is ECF and ECF. And also we are considering the major output systems of our body, that is Purishavaha srotas, Mutravaha srotas, and what is that? Svedavaha srotas also. So by examining the srotas, a physician can identify the lacunae in the structural and functional levels of the srotas and recommend diet accordingly. That is the benefit of doing Srotoparisha before recommending dietary plan for an individual. For example, to a person whose Asthi-sarada is poor and Asthi-dhatu and his Asthi-dhatu is not so good, then the physician can recommend more Parthivamsha as calcium. So we can recommend calcium-rich natural foods like ragi, moringa leaves, that is shigru leaves, milk, etc., in order to improve the Asthi-dhatu status, instead of prescribing simply a tablet to improve the calcium level. Likewise, a state of chaya of Mamsadhatu can be dealt by recommending Shashtika rather than a normal whole grain. So now I think with this we can find a reasonable theoretic basis for personalized nutrition. The next slide, please. So we are taking account of the individuals' characteristics in order to have a personalized nutrition. That is why we are giving drumstick leaves or shigru leaves for correcting the osteoporosis, and ragi to improve the calcium status, etc. The next slide, please. And we can say that the theoretic basis for personalized nutrition as the next slide, please. So we have to take an account of the Prakriti of an individual that is already stated as a part of stratified nutrition, and along with that we have to consider the Sara and Srotas to form a theoretical basis of personalized nutrition. The next slide, please. So can we stop with this, or can we go for the precision nutrition? Yes, we can go for the precision nutrition. For this, we must take an account of the influence of seasonal variation on the individual. Here is the contribution from the concept of Ritucharya come to the limelight. If a Vata Prakriti person is considered, he may need to follow the Grishma Charya more strictly than any other person in order to avoid the Vata Chaya to go to the next level, that is Vata Kopa. Similarly, the Vata Prakriti person may need to follow Varsha Charya in the diet and regimen suitable for rainy season, strictly, very strictly, as Vata Kopa is expected during Varsha Ratu. Similarly, other Prakritis also need to be careful during the respective seasonal Chaya and Prakopa Kala. The next slide, please. Here, I would like to say something about Okasatmya too. The Okasatmya, the term Okasatmya tells about the regular habit of an individual. Those practices which have become a regular habit of an individual is considered as something do not cause any derangement to the health of that individual. But is this true always? What is your opinion regarding Okasatmya? Can we use Okasatmya for long periods? Since the time is short, let me continue. I don't think that it is recommendable. It may be okay as far as the Agni of the individual is perfect. Once the Agni deranges, the metabolic conversions of unhealthy food would be in trouble, making the individual unhealthy. So we cannot recommend Okasatmya for a longer duration. When we consider the long-term goal of perfect health to an individual. The next slide, please. So with this, we can have a theoretical background for the precision nutrition, like as we already considered the Prakriti for stratified nutrition, and we are going beyond the stratified nutrition to reach the personalized nutrition with the help of Sara and Srotas. Along with that, we have to consider Ritucharya, and we have to avoid the Okasatmya Drivya to reach a precision nutrition level. So that is about the precision nutrition. The next slide, please. Now let's consider the goal of personalized nutrition. Next, please. So the goal of personalized nutrition was mentioned as it is to provide specific nutritional support to the individuals. So what can be recommended in disease? That is also a goal, or that is also a concern in case of personalized nutrition. So the dietary recommendation to improve the health status of an individual who is not healthy, that is Pathya in our Samhitas, are can be used as a clue for personalized nutrition. What is the role of Pathya and how we can personalize the specific recommendation during disease stage and also during convalescent periods? This must be our concern. Also go through the Annaswarupa Vijnana, in which the recommendable conditions of each food item is given along with the properties of each item. We only have to consider some Prakriti element to personalize this. Pathya is there, Annaswarupa Vijnana, recommendations in Annaswarupa Vijnana is there, but we have to consider the peculiarities of Prakriti to personalize these concepts. For example, while recommending Takra to improve the Agni status, in a Vata Prakriti person, because Takra is Deepana Vachana. So we can prescribe or recommend Takra to improve the Agni of a Vata Prakriti person. But we have to remember that Takra is Ruksha. So we have to limit the dose and the duration of Takrapana to make it tailored according to the need of the particular Prakriti person. Similarly, the next please, while considering the specific group, can you say or does Ayurveda give due importance to the need of specific group? I can say yes, because that is why Chirapata is being recommended recommended during Garbhakala. It is to provide enough calcium for the that is required to maintain or improve the growth status of the fetus. And next please. And we can also say that in the specific group, Chaireyam Yavakam Stokam is recommended as a diet, special diet for the menstruating woman. Similarly, another aspect of special nutritional support is to achieve goals. Is there dietary recommendations? That there are dietary recommendations as Rasayana and Vajigana Yoga. So in Rasayana, you can find Krishnatila Rasayana. Krishnatila is sesame, and it is actually a food item only, and it is recommended to be used as Rasayana Drivya. So we can say that foodstuffs are used as Rasayana Drivya. And similarly, some Vajigarna Yoga like Masha along with Grida and Chaudra is Vajigarna Yoga. Rasayana and Vajigarna, as we have to admit that Rasayana and Vajigarna speak about achieving specific goals. The next slide, please. The last goal of personalized nutrition is improving the public health. So that would be automatically accomplished when we design the personalized nutrition for a large number of individuals in the public. Remember, correction of a group can be accomplished only by correcting the individual unit. Hence, maximizing the benefits and reducing the ill effect of each individual's who choose personalized nutritional plan would contribute in improving the public health. That we have to admit. The next slide, please. With this, I think that we have considered much of the potential areas of Ayurveda that can be explored to attain the personalized nutrition, but the umbrella of personalized nutrition also covers some terms like nutrigenetics, nutrigenomics, etc. Nutrigenetics is the study on the different phenotypic responses to a specific diet on the basis of genotype. Actually, when we consider the personalized nutrition and precision nutrition, we consider the phenotypes only, but here we have to consider the genotypes also. And nutrigenomics involves the characterization of all genes product affected by nutrition and how the gene affect the metabolism of nutrients within our body. All these are discussed under the nutrigenomics. Next slide, please. I think most of these points are also come under the consideration of Prakriti as well as Vikriti. We have to consider some of the Vikriti aspects also. The new term, there is a new term coined as Ayur nutrigenomics, and it has resulted due to the integration of Ayurgenomics with the traditional concept of Ahara and Pathya. So Ayurgenomics with Ahara and Pathya is the hint or clue towards the Ayur nutrigenomics. Actually, the concept of Ayurgenomics revolves around the core concept of Prakriti. So when we link the Prakriti with Ahara and Pathya, we can say that it it tells about the Ayur nutrigenomics. So it is a systematic integration of nutritional practices according to Ayurveda in relation to the Prakriti of an individual. And it also consider genomics, proteomics, etc. The next slide, please. Before concluding the session, let us think together what are the advantages of formulating an approach in personalized nutrition. There are certain facts about the personal nutrition, that is, it is a fact that inter-individual variability is a real phenomenon. Actually, there exists inter-individual variability to the response of food. It is a real phenomenon. And the next point to be considered as there are evidences from the studies that the personalized nutrition ensure improvement in the dietary plans than conventional approaches. And also the personalized nutrition help to sustain change in the behavior of individual, because they get a satisfaction that they are taken care of as an individual. So a person would be more inclined to use the personalized nutrition than following a conventional approach. And another fact is that the personalized nutrition can lead to the next level of precision medicine. We are talking about nutrition, and we can talk about precision medicine too, which can improve the public health. The next slide, please. But there are certain drawbacks of personalized nutrition as far as modern nutritional science is concerned. So modern science, the evidence obtained for modern science is from the observational study only. The modern science recommends trials, controlled trials, in order to have a better scientific evidence. But the nutrition, while we consider nutrition, always we get the results from the observational study. So they feel that it is not adequate to recommend that particular food item to a particular niche. And as far as modern modern nutritional science is concerned, the theoretical basis for personalized nutrition is only underdeveloped, and there are certain unknown factors responsible for inter-individual differences and their heritability that could not be explained on the basis of modern nutritional science or modern science simply. And there another problem is the researches on nutritional science is unregulated. There is no much regulatory law for controlling the researches on nutrition. So these are the drawbacks of personalized nutrition from a viewpoint of modern nutritional science. Please take the next slide. But we can see that these major drawbacks of modern science is not a limitation for Ayurveda, because actually they are our strength. We have ample basis of ample theoretical basis to develop our own personalized nutrition. That is why we have to work a little more in order to plan a nutrition or in order to frame a nutrition plan that can be recommended to each individual. But we have our own theoretical background, ample theoretical background to function for this. The next slide, please. But why should we work on personalized nutrition? It is because there are certain facts that the personalized nutrition can be used in healthy and diseased. So as a whole, we can say that it can be applied in each person. And food is a daily requirement. So personalized nutrition is speaking about something that is used every day by every individual, and also it ensures personal satisfaction to the consumers. That is why we have to work on personalized nutrition. The next slide, please. So suggestion for the future advancement of the personalized nutrition will be facilitated by a number of factors. But the most important one is the development of the strong theoretical basis. This is from the viewpoint of modern nutritional science, and also we need evidences to prove that our theoretical background works well. So we can start directly from the second step of providing evidences regarding our nutritional plans, and let it be our very next objective in this regard. The next slide, please. This is the very next objective in this era of evidence-based science. But even though our primary objective is health for all, Swasthasya Swasthya Samrakshanam and Aturasya Roga Prashamanam is the primary objective or primary aim, not primary aim, simply the aim and primary objective of Ayurveda. So with this, I am winding up my presentation. Thank you all for your patient listening, and I'm sorry for the technical errors that happened at the beginning of the session. Thank you all.
Thank you very much, ma'am, for taking your time to prepare for us such an extraordinary, wonderful presentation, which was incredibly informative. We will now go ahead to the question and answer session. Shall we begin, ma'am?
Yes, all are welcome to the discussion. I would try to answer to your queries.
Dr. Vishaka has raised her hand.
Yes, ma'am. Good evening. The lecture was very informative. Thank you so much for the basic insights. My question here is regarding Tikta Kshir Basti. I have a patient who has done her genetic analysis regarding nutrition, and she is lactose intolerance. But her condition is not to have Niruha and Anuvasan. And I would prefer a Tikta Kshir Basti. So how do we go ahead with that?
Can you please repeat the question?
Yes, ma'am. I have a patient who is not for Niruha Anuvasan Basti, and I have to prescribe her a Tikta Kshir Basti. But according to her genetic analysis, she is lactose intolerance.
Okay, lactose intolerance is a fact of person's individual's consideration. So we cannot recommend a Tikta Kshira Basti in them, because when we consider the genetic makeup of that individual, the genotype of that individual, it is better to avoid that, and we can go for something else that is equally useful in that condition.
Okay, ma'am, then would you recommend a Madhu Tailik Basti for her? Would that be a recommendation?
Maybe that would be fine. Maybe that would be fine if it is appropriate for the condition.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Delegates, if you have any queries, you can post it in the chat box. I think that's all for the question and answer session, ma'am.
It's too late, maybe because of that. I'm sorry for the delay.
Excuse me. Sorry for interrupting. Will this session be available as a recording?
I hope the organizers would answer. I don't know, actually.
Yes, ma'am. This question is for the organizers.
Thank you.
Actually, ma'am, it is available in the YouTube.
Okay. Can you please send the link on the WhatsApp group where I received the invitation for the Zoom meeting, please?
Yes, ma'am. It is also available in that link also, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So, shall we wind up, ma'am?
Yes. Before that, let me thank the organizers for giving me this wonderful chance to address these many of our colleagues. And I also would like to thank all the delegates for your patient listening to my words and cooperating with me with the technical errors and all. Thank you. Thank you all.
Ma'am, just one question I wanted to ask.
Yes.
Can I ask, please?
You sure,
Ma'am, this new vegetables like broccoli and how will you put in, like in what it will be like particular for which Prakriti?
See, actually, the problem with this is such type of food items are not included in our samhita. So we have to, at least we have to observe a number of individuals who use this type of foodstuffs. So according to the changes that happen in our body in terms of our guna vidya vibhaga, Rasaguna Vidya Vibhaga, we can formulate or we can recommend the dietary plan. So
and what about mushrooms? People ask that we can eat mushrooms or not.
I think certain studies, certain researches have been conducted on mushrooms, and it is contraindicated. I think it is not beneficial for the use of kapha prakriti, that I remember. But we have to go through such research articles in order to have much idea on particular food items. Or otherwise, we have to have our own researches. Actually, that is what I told at the end of presentation. Our first objective, or our objective at this point, is to provide evidences on the basis of our own concepts.
Okay. Thank you. It was a nice session, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Ma'am, there is a question. Can you suggest something regarding oats?
Oats? Is that about oats? Oats is a grain, and so it can be used in all prakritis because it is not creating much problem with it's actually recommended to reduce the fat, and so we can even prescribe for the kapha prakriti, but I'm not sure whether it can satisfy the tishnagni of the pitta prakriti. Because otherwise we have to give it in large quantity. The quantity of food is equally important. Not only the nature of food, but also we have to consider the quantity of food while recommending a particular food item. Oats can be a good choice for any prakriti, I think, but the quantity matters more.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am, for answering all the questions. Now I request Dr. Anu K.S., Assistant Professor, Department of Kriya Sharira, Ayurveda College, Coimbatore, to deliver the vote of thanks.
Good evening. On behalf of Ayurveda College, Coimbatore and Team Diksha, it is my privilege and a great joy for me to extend a vote of thanks for today's session. First of all, I would like to express my sincere gratitude to Dr. Anjali ma'am for accepting our invitation and for sharing your valuable knowledge about the topic, Prakriti, the key to personalized nutrition. Thank you, ma'am. I extend my sincere gratitude to the whole Diksha team for providing us with the best virtual platform. Last but not least, let me thank all our delegates who have responded so well to our invitation and made it a grand success. We look forward to welcome you again in our coming sessions. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you, ma'am. It is not even the beginning of the end, but it is perhaps the end of the beginning. To know more about our updates, please do stay connected with our social platform. That's all for today's most interesting session with a lot of new information for us to close our eyes with thought-provoking knowledge. Thank you all for joining us. Thank you.